Revelation 8, Trumpet 4, outlines a grim cosmic scene. The entire solar system or universe is seemingly affected, for the sun, moon, and stars are darkened. What a crushing end-time scene. Or is it? The passage in the ESV is as follows. The fourth angel blew his trumpet, and a third of the sun was struck, and a third of the moon, and a third of the stars, so that a third of their light might be darkened, and a third of the day might be kept from shining, and likewise a third of the night. And that's Revelation 8 verse 12. How can we approach this seemingly end-of-time scene? Let us consider what we know from our academic travels thus far, considering our early Earth development trend line to now, with associated events summarized by verse and in years. So first we have the Big Bang, Revelation 8 and 5, 13.6 billion years ago. Trumpet 1, we see a fiery magma Earth. That's in Revelation 8, 7, 4.6 billion years ago. That Earth receives water and organic material. Revelation 8 verse 7, and that's about 4 billion years ago. Followed by Trumpet 2, volcanism and tectonics, Revelation 8 verse 7, maybe 450 to 3 billion years ago. 450 million, that is, to 3 billion years ago. Trumpet 3 is supernova and new elements, Revelation 8 verse 10, 369 million years ago. Moreover, all of the events outlined screen life forms, eliminating some while encouraging others. So what event then follows the chronology in terms of early Earth development? It would have to be something that's dominated by the sun, moon, and stars darkening. And what accounts for that? Potentially atmospheric pollution, and potentially the greatest extinction catastrophe ever known, the Great Dying. Scientists tell us that arguably the most significant extinction event is something called the Great Dying. It's also known as the Permian Triassic Extinction Event, or PT event. This PT event occurred some 252 million years ago, wiped out large amounts of life on the Earth. Perhaps about 81% of marine species and approximately 70% of land-based vertebrate species. On these extinction statistics, Stanley's 2016 work is interesting in that he reduces the estimates of extinction from the popularly quoted 99 or 95% down towards a more accurate 80%-ish figure. Regardless of statistic accuracy, the Great Dying and its developmental ramifications is one of the greatest events in Earth's history. As to the sources of the Great Dying, the scientific consensus posits that large amounts of carbon dioxide from something called the Siberian Traps caused widespread oceanic anoxia, that is, the lack of oxygen in the water, as well as ocean acidification. The Siberian Traps are a massive landmass located in today's Siberian Russia. Volcanic activity, which may have been ongoing for approximately 2 million years, from the Siberian Traps is believed to be the source of the PT extinction event. There is evidence to indicate that the Siberian Trap eruptions were not just a typical volcanic eruption with pollution and debris ejected into the atmosphere. The Siberian Traps activity had significant lava flows and lava beds that spread over an incredibly large geographic area. After cooling, the lava had a peculiar appearance. Traps, which is a Swedish term for steps, is a rock formation that has relatively even layers, the appearance of laddered steps. As to the causes and actual pollution damage initiated by the Siberian Traps and the related PT event or Great Dying, there's a link between the Siberian Trap flood basalts and the extinction has been suggested on the basis of the rough coincidence of the two events. That is, it appears they occurred at the same time. The carbon dioxide and methane involved in the traps could easily have darkened the sun, moon, and stars for some time. Moreover, it is possible, and it's believed, that the Siberian Traps ignited oil and coal deposits, which added even more pollution, including methane, into the atmosphere. Undoubtedly, the Earth was full of pollution. Carbon dioxide, methane, sulfur dioxide. Life at the time didn't have a chance, hence the term the Great Dying. Although life loss was immense, as with any extinction event, the net effect brings us forward to current times and an Earth that is suitably inhabited and enjoyed by human beings. After the PT event, for unknown reasons, scientists tell us that the development of land vertebrates, i.e. animals, was substantially delayed. Benton 2005 sees this curious delays lasting some 30 million years or so. It remains a mystery. However, science is still researching all of the developmental aspects that bring us to where we are today. With such early Earth development continuing, and with the Permian-Triassic event summarized in the scientific sense, a parallel to the pollution written about in Revelation 8, we now find ourselves at the dawn of humanity. Indeed, with the other significant events pending, those involving human beings directly, and as such, Revelation offers its first woe. In other words, with the Earth moving towards final development and human beings to be shortly placed on the scene, apparently heaven finds it time to record and to demonstrate, to communicate its first woe. The first woe, or outburst of grief, or any revelation-based woe for that matter, is a special point in the cosmic chronology. It's a sign of concern or grief. Woes take place, really, from the Almighty's point of view and not our earthly scientific point of view. The term woe, in the Greek, and numbered by Strong as G3759, is described as, quote, a primary exclamation of grief, unquote. It can be considered an interjection of grief, or perhaps a comment meaning, alas. There are 3 woes issued in Revelation. This first woe is expressed as such: and I looked, and I heard an eagle crying with a loud voice as it flew directly overhead, woe, woe, woe to those who dwell on the earth, at the blasts of the other trumpets that the 3 angels are about to blow. And that's Revelation 8, verse 13. As the verse states, it appears that events regarding the earth are ramping up. This is not in terms of end times apocalypse, wrath, anger, judgment, or vengeance. For again, none of these terms are yet utilized by heavenly forces. Predictably, the woe is issued by Revelation scriptwriters and booksellers to fearmonger. They see it as wrath and judgment. It simply is not. The fact is, the woe is about concern. It's a sign of grief and hardship to come. The human existence, while beautiful, will be filled with options and obstacles. The ramping up in terms of early Earth development will have human beings shortly entering the scene. Plant, air, water, and land life are all becoming rather sophisticated and mature. It's at this time that planet Earth is entering a phase of full development and moving towards the end of creation quality that we know it today. Hence, the expression of grief or woe here is placed at an interesting time in the Earth's chronology. That is, it's placed before events or phenomena to do with direct human interaction. The woe is placed at or before human existence. Human life will be difficult with deceptions by Satan, infighting, wars, at its worst, an overt battle with the Almighty. Note the difficulties are human-made and not the result of the Almighty's vengeance or punishment. The woe expresses grief. And by the way, the 3 trumpets to come are Trumpet 5 with an asteroid hit, smoke, deep vents to the abyss, and the arrival of Satan. That's in Revelation 9:1. Trumpet 6 clearly demarcates world war, where a third of humankind is lost. That's Revelation 9, verse 13. Trumpet 7 follows later and has to do with the beast or one world government eradicating followers of God. That is, the Great Tribulation. That's found in Revelation 11, verse 15. So again, stepping back, the first woe expresses sentiments of grief. It has to do with unfortunate human interactions and human catastrophe. If anything, the woes are an expression of grief by the Almighty. They are not overt anger and raging threats, as Revelation analysts and prognosticators, booksellers would have you believe. So as such, with Trumpet 4 and its pollution and development events analyzed, both in biblical and scientific terms, we now move on to the rest of Revelation's creation account.